Before I get into Carlos Maza and his shenanigans, I want to give a shout out to these guys right here, the Rhetorical Entertainment. Mitch and... Sorry, I forgot the other guy's name. But they do like a little podcast, about an hour every night. And they go over like news of the day kind of things. And they keep it clean, so, I mean, that's kind of cool. They discussed last night the Carlos Maza, the Steven Crowder thing, and they kind of brought up what YouTube sort of, what they said about today. Now, let's just go over to why I called Carlos Maza a Marxist pig. Because he calls himself a Marxist pig. Why do I call him a Marxist pig? Because he called himself a Marxist pig. Now, if he tries to do anything to this video I'm doing, I'm just repeating what you repeated on yourself. Now, I'm not going to call the same stuff you called yourself that Steven Crowder called you, and then you get mad because he called you the same stuff you called yourself. So what does that mean? What does that make you? Oh, yeah, hypocrite. Carlos Maza is a hypocrite. He's also a far left-wing ideologue. So, what I want to do here is go over what Sinatra says. He basically, I'm going to play this video for, let's see, from now to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and you'll see his commentary, and then I'm going to go what Tim Pool says, and I'm going to see what the far left-wing Vice Media has to say. Oh, by the way, I'm calling everybody far left-wing, anybody who calls anybody else far right-wing, I'm going to call them far left-wing from now on, from here on out. So let's go ahead and without further ado, let's play this guy. This is Carlos Maza on BuzzFeed News. Oh, I hate BuzzFeed. AM to DM, I think that's so these two knuckle nuts think the same way. So it's an echo chamber. So let's play.
It's been happening for a long time. It's been happening since way before me. The response from people who've experienced this is, "Yeah, I agree. To hell with YouTube. I can't believe they're branding themselves as Pride allies." And
You mean to tell me that a corporation doesn't really care about your sexuality? How fucking awful must it be to know that no one really cares if you're gay or not? I promise you, you being gay has nothing to do with the shit you're getting. You're getting shit because you're a shitty person. Has absolutely nothing to do with your sexuality, has nothing to do with your nationality or your heritage. It's because you're a dick.
And he couldn't have said it any better. I saw this one quote on Twitter, and I don't know where it's at, but it's still there. It was on Carlos Maza's one of his whiny rants about YouTube not doing whatever the f. So basically, it was something kind of like this. The least interesting thing about Carlos Maza is your sexual orientation. The most interesting thing about you is your fascistic tendencies. Carlos Maza, you are a goddamn fascist. You are. You are. There is no other way to put it. You are a frickin' fascist, and you should be ashamed of yourself. But you're not. But you're not. You're virtue signaling to YouTube. Please, this guy was making fun of me. He was using the same word against me. Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, that's how every time I hear Carlos Maza speak, that is what I hear coming out of his mouth. His stinking pie hole. Just a bunch of whiny. This guy's an adult and he's fucking whining. Anywho, let's see what Tim Pool has to say. He kind of mentioned this a little bit, so we'll play this for 18 seconds, and I'll have some response to it.
The battle is won. Steven Crowder will not be banned, but the war is not over. Carlos Maza of Vox is now rallying a bunch of other personalities, influencers, and media organizations to trigger a massive war on YouTube. This will not be the end.
And Tim is correct. I kind of disagree with a little bit on Tim Pool here. I think Crowder may have won, but the backlash that at Gay Wonk Carlos Maza, the far left-wing ideologue, who works at Vox, a far left-wing publication on the internet, by the way. Far left, far left, far left. They are far left. There, I don't know how many times I can keep saying it. You're fucking far left, Fox. You're fucking far left, Carlos Maza. Anywho, back on the ranch, I think the backlash is going to keep continuing because there's a lot of buzz, if you will, on Twitter, especially his Twitter feed. Now, again, he keeps whining about this. Now, I'm going to give you a little story. I spent 20 years in the military. I retired honorably. For any of those who are going to try to look that up, if you ever find my last name. Anyways, within, I think, the first 8, like when I first got to my first duty station, I had to go to this one training program. And I was in this like medical like first aid course. Basically, it was kind of like combat lifesavers, if you will. It was like this was like the beginning of it. This was like January of 94-ish, something like that. And my last name is somewhat unique. It comes from England. There's not many people in the world with this last name, but it is a English name. And this old medic, and he was a sergeant first class, and he near side or something like that, and he called out him and he goes, "Hey, you over there, private, what is that last name? Lumpy?" And I knew, and everybody looked at me, and I was like, "Mother," and that's basically how I got that nickname. Now, it's like calling a fat guy tiny. I was 120 pounds soaking wet with 2 bricks in each hand, so I wasn't fat at all. I wasn't lumpy at all. But that name stuck. Instead of whining like a little bitch, I accepted it and I took it. And so finally, I accepted the name and I took ownership of it. Now, I understand the connotations. You don't do that with the N word. You don't do that with the F word, meaning about the certain sexual orientation on people. You can't really do that. But Carlos Maza has been called out for using the words that are being used against him on himself. And then he's going to whine about it? Fuck you. Again, let me reiterate. The least interesting thing about Carlos Maza is his sexual orientation. The most interesting point and fact about Carlos Maza is he's a goddamn fascist. Simple as that. I wouldn't go, he's not a full-on fascist, if you will. He's got fascistic tendencies, okay? So let's see what Vice News, the paragon of entertainment here. I hate this. This is such a fucking bullshit name for this article. Google says right-wing YouTube star can continue his racist and homophobic abuse. What the fuck, left-wing Vice News? Left-wing Vice News? Left-wing Vice News. You're a left-wing news organization. You're left-wing, 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 and you're left-wing. You're probably fascist, but I'm not going to go too far into that pool yet. I'm just going to dip my toe and just call you a left-wing news organization. Okay? You're left-wing. I had to get that out. So, they basically go on this diatribe. This is what, I'm not going to read it, but you can read it for yourself right here. And yes, Crowder he took ownership because, yep, I said it. Only because Carlos Maza called him the same thing. And calling someone a gay Mexican, is he gay? Yeah. Is he a Mexican? I think so. Or he's Latino. Okay. Should he say it that way? Should Crowder say it that way? That's up to him. This is free speech so far before it comes to a screeching halt. But and Crowder fans responded by directing more abuse at Maza. Really? Do you have evidence to suggest that, Vice News, left-wing news organization? Did Crowder say doxxx and abuse him, Carlos Maza? No. He actually said, do not do that. Do not flag his videos. Do not go after him. And I say the exact same thing. Even though Carlos Maza, the fascistic left-wing news guy, I would say news is a very subjective term. I would call him a left-wing pseudo-fascist, if you will, with fascistic tendencies. Crowder basically said last night when he was doing an interview with Tim Pool and the day before that, he said basically, do not go after him, do not abuse him, do not talk to him, do not flag his videos, do not do anything. So goddamn it, Vice News, how do you know it's Crowder fans? How do you know it's not just left-wing, far left-wing trolls doing the same exact mother frickin' thing? Oh, that's right. You're a far left news organization, you fucking douchebags. As I continue. And then this is where he goes into his whiny diatribe. Quote, it makes life so miserable. We gotta take black boys and it's mental health. Wow! You brought this on yourself. Do you not understand that? If you would have ignored this BS, it would have went away. But you can't ignore it. Matter of fact, I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories about here why this is going on. I think this came from Tim Pool and maybe Crowder as well, and some other places. Vox News is kind of going down the tubes. They're only hiring according to one of my videos and some of the news I've seen. They're only hiring part-time workers, even though they're getting flushed with cash by NBC to the tune of $200 million and probably George Soros. But I don't know. But because George Soros has tentacles going everywhere, so you don't know where that money comes from. So I think he may be doing this to bring Vox's, if you will, their presence more known, if you will. So, this is how YouTube responded. Our team spent the last few days conducting an in-depth review of the videos flagged to us. While we found the language that was clearly hurtful, the videos posted do not violate our policies. As an open platform, it is crucial for us to allow everyone from creators to journalists to late-night hosts to express their opinions within the scope of their policies. Opinions can be deeply offensive, but if they don't violate the policies, they will remain on our site. Now, they say this now. That's YouTube's quote. But I guarantee you that like I said before, the backlash is going to keep coming. Because Twitter has this unfortunate way of inflaming people and getting the rabblers out and doing our... So here's the decision left Maza at a loss. Quote, YouTube may decide not to put Crowder after he spent 2 years harassing me for being gay and Latino. I don't know what to say. He did not... He just called your names, but he debunked your bullshit work. God damn it. Are you that fucking dense? Again, I have to say this for the third time. You being gay or you're a different sexual orientation than a lot of other people is the least important fact about you, Mr. Carlos fucking Maza. The most important fact about you is that you're a goddamn pseudo-fascist with fascistic tendencies. Okay? Do you understand? This is 2019. No one gives two shits that you're gay. Who cares? You bring that up every chance you get to score sympathy points and SJW notches on your belt. Me. Somebody making fun of me. No one cares that you're gay. We care that you're a goddamn fascist. You're trying to use YouTube to bully people. You're saying other people are bullying? You're fucking bullying. Do you not understand? What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, I hope this is the last goddamn video I do about this guy. But I seriously doubt it. Because I love this quote from this blue check marker. This blue checky. I love that YouTube is the biggest purveyors of right-wing hate on earth. Right-wing? Seriously? Have you fucking looked at YouTube? Goddamn. There's more left-wing people on YouTube than there are your quote-unquote right-wing Mr. Jamil Smith. Who the fuck you are? I don't care who you are. I mean, look what he calls himself. At gay wonk. So, am I not allowed to call Carlos Maza at gay wonk his own Twitter title? Probably I shouldn't, and I'm not going to. But again, let's look at his bio. I write for Strike Through for Vox.com. He's a Marxist. I'm a Marxist pig. His words, not mine. Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist with no fucking proof, Carlos fucking Maza. Instagram, gay wonk. So that's what he calls himself. He calls himself gay wonk. So this guy is complaining about people calling him names that he calls himself, but then gets all pissy that other people... Oh my God, this guy's a fucking hypocrite. You know what? I don't like to curse, but I'm just so goddamn pissed off about these cyber bullies. These cry bullies. They're... So let's read what he had to say. Okay? So he's complaining about YouTube virtue signaling the rainbow flag on their... I agree. I guess I agree with Carlos, is that, yes, they are kind of ghoulish, that they don't do it all the whole year, but just this month they're going to do it because it's politically expedient and it gives them virtue signaling points. It says, if you're a reporter covering this YouTube nightmare and need a quote from your piece, please contact me. I'd like to spend the rest of this week giving you colorful quotes about all the ways YouTube exploits LGBT people while arming our abusers with tools of harassment. Oh, what I mean, calling out your stupid bullshit news articles that you quote-unquote put out as actual quote-unquote unbiased content? You're a biased piece of shit. And you don't say you're biased. You say, I'm not biased. I'm just giving the facts. You don't give facts. You give left-wing, far left-wing pieces of material, okay? And then he goes out to say, like, YouTube says it didn't punish Crowder because he says he focused primarily on debating. Yes. When he repeatedly called me this. Because I would assume you called that yourself because... That's why he called you that? Because you called it yourself? I don't know. I'd have to really find out if he actually called him really that. But he has called himself other things. And he's not... You know what? Steven Crowder's has gay people. He had Sally Cohen on his TV or on his show. And they debated. It was heated, but they had a cordial, interaction. And there was no names being shot out there. Bad words. So, here we go from Washington Post. The far left-wing Washington Post states, a right-wing YouTuber hurled racist, homophobic taunts at a gay reporter. The company did nothing. A right-wing YouTuber hurled racist, homophobic taunts at a gay reporter. From the far left-wing Washington Post. I don't want to go... You know what? I'm kind of done talking about this because I'm just getting, because I'm far removed from this. This doesn't affect me, but I found this interesting that this guy right here, this guy right there, he's a Marxist pig. He calls himself a Marxist pig. And guess how I'm going to name this article? Far left-wing Marxist pig Carlos Maza loses against Steven Crowder. That's what I'm going to write it on. Or something to that nature. So, Carlos Maza, congratulations. You played yourself. Once again. I'm going to say this for the fourth time. Carlos Maza, the least interesting fact about you is that you're of your sexual orientation. Who gives a shit? I don't care. This is 2019. Who gives a shit who you have sex with and who you don't, who you date and who you don't? I don't care. The most interesting thing about you, Carlos Maza, is that you're a pseudo-fascist with fascistic tendencies. Okay? Who uses big tech to stifle your competition. You Marxist pig. Marxist pig, Marxist pig, Marxist pig, Marxist pig.